Welcome to the Sans Science Experience podcast, where we explore the latest and most exciting papers and preprints in science. Before we dive into today's fascinating research, please take just a second to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and maybe share it with friends and family. It really, truly helps support the Sans Science Experience and lets us keep bringing you these deep dives. Okay, so today we're plunging into a really pivotal study. It's from Nature Cardiovascular Research by Zhang and colleagues. Our mission, basically, is to unpack why these genetic insights into inflammation are, well, reshaping how we think about heart disease and maybe even more. We want to reveal why targeting one specific inflammatory pathway might just be a real game changer for health.
It really might be. And what's so compelling here is how inflammation itself has, really moved center stage as a target for atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, ASCVD. That's such a huge global health issue. And for years, the genetic focus was mostly on the IL-6 receptor, IL-6R. But now we have drugs targeting IL-6 itself. So this study, it fills a really critical gap, giving us direct genetic evidence for blocking IL-6.
Right, okay. So to really get at this, the researchers developed something pretty clever, didn't they? A genetic instrument. They use specific genetic variations, variants in the IL-6 gene itself, basically setting up a natural experiment to mimic anti-IL-6 drugs like ziltivekimab, but without actually giving a drug, sort of like a sneak peek.
Exactly, a sneak peek provided by genetics. And the crucial distinction here, the thing this lets us study, is IL-6 versus its receptor. See, targeting IL-6 directly can potentially shut down both its main signaling routes, the classic, and the trans signaling pathways. Blocking both might offer a more comprehensive anti-inflammatory effect. And this genetic proxy, it lined up remarkably well with what ziltivekimab does to key biomarkers, things like lowering fibrinogen, lowering LPA.
LPA, yeah, that's a big one for risk.
A very big one. And interestingly, increasing HDL-C, the good cholesterol, it mirrors what we see in the actual drug trials pretty closely.
Wow, okay. So if this genetic setup mimics the drug so well, what does it tell us about the long-term picture, the ripple effects on health over a lifetime? Because this sounds like it could be huge. You're suggesting that targeting IL-6 isn't just about one thing. It's like a shield against a whole range of problems.
That's what the genetics point towards. We're talking potentially lower lifetime risks for major cardiovascular conditions, coronary artery disease, peripheral artery disease, and ischemic stroke, the atherosclerotic kind.
And not just in one group of people.
No, that's key. They replicated these findings in both European and East Asian populations, which strengthens the case considerably.
Okay, heart disease. What else? You mentioned broader effects.
Right beyond the heart. There were significant metabolic benefits linked to this genetic profile too, like a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Also associated with reduced BMI and waist-to-hip ratio markers of central obesity, and a generally more favorable lipid profile. They increased good stuff like HDL particles and ApoA, and decreased bad stuff like that LPA we mentioned.
Okay, benefits sound great. But, the big worry with anti-inflammatories is always infection risk, isn't it? Weakening the immune system.
That's the standard concern, absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's where we got a really surprising finding. This study suggested that genetically lower IL-6 signaling via these IL-6 gene variants was actually associated with lower risks of things like pneumonia hospitalization, sepsis, and even severe COVID-19.
Lower risk, not higher.
Lower risk. Which is, well, it's quite different from what's been seen with some variants in the IL-6 receptor gene, the IL-6R, and some other anti-inflammatory drugs that have been linked to higher infection risks.
Huh. So maybe targeting the molecule itself is different from targeting the docking station, immunologically speaking.
It certainly raises that possibility. It suggests the specific pathway you interrupt really matters for the immune consequences. It's not a blunt instrument.
Fascinating. Okay, so beyond heart disease, metabolism, and this unexpected infection finding, did they look even broader? You mentioned a Phenome-wide scan.
They did. That's where they scan for links across hundreds of different health conditions. And yeah, it threw up some other interesting possibilities. Potential repurposing opportunities popped up, hints that maybe IL-6 inhibitors could reduce the risk of depression and also gallstone disease.
But it's not all good news, presumably. Any warning signs?
Well, yes, and that's crucial for drug development, too. The analysis also flagged potential higher risks for a few conditions, things like migraine, open-angle glaucoma, and pregnancy-related maternal hemorrhage.
Right. So important safety signals to watch out for. It highlights that powerful biological tweaks often have complex effects, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's rarely ever just one effect. Biology is complex.
So the bottom line here, what's the so what? These genetic insights provide really quite strong support for pushing forward with drugs that directly target IL-6. Using these genetic findings, we can potentially make clearer predictions about both the good stuff, the benefits, and the potential downsides and side effects. It helps guide drug development much more effectively, perhaps even helping identify who might benefit most or who needs closer monitoring.
So, wrapping this up then, this deep dive really shows how these sophisticated genetic studies, they aren't just sitting in journals. They're becoming vital tools guiding us towards potentially powerful new therapies that could improve health across the spectrum, heart, metabolism, maybe even mental health, while also helping us navigate the risks involved much more carefully. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other common diseases could we tackle if we really zeroed in on the right genetic pathways like this? Something to think about. Anyway, if you enjoyed this deep dive and found it useful, please do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support really does help us keep exploring the cutting edge of science here on the SANS Science Experience.